写文案是门学问，写好的文案需要对语言有一定的了解。那今天让我们来专门跟大家分享2种下标题的技巧，适用于网站、email 还有社群网站哦。Hello， 欢迎来到 Executive Plus 主管与沟通力的 Podcast。I'm Sherry, an educator, certified coach, and style enthusiast. 我相信专业有效的沟通是语言跟逻辑的完美结合。
And I'm Nick, a startup consultant, corporate trainer, and late-night gaming junkie. I believe great communication requires the right mindset and solid frameworks.
我们希望带给大家职场英语的技能、跨文化沟通技巧与其他能帮助您成为出色领导者的工具。
Join us each week as we share our experience, research, and methodologies to take your communication and language skills from good to great. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Executive Plus podcast. Now, I'm someone who really likes walking through bookstores, and they say never judge a book by its cover. But most often, I will pick up a book because the title is usually really clever. I really enjoy books that have some wordplay, a pun, or they just know how to grab my attention with the title itself. And this is something that I enjoy because after copywriting dozens of different clients' websites, marketing materials, over the years, I'm constantly thinking about how to play with words. And so book titles are a great place for this. News articles, especially online, as long as it's not clickbaity like the top 5 sexiest business ideas ever. I don't like that kind of clickbait, but anyone who really takes their time to think about wordplay can always grab attention. And so in this episode, we actually want to share a few techniques about how to think about doing this to grab people's attention.
没错，那其实我们现在的这种时代啊 social media, it's the main ways to promote your own service or your product or your idea or even your own personal branding. 所以当然我们下标题就变得非常的重要。那我们现在下标题呢，你对于这个语言啊跟这个字，你一定要有一定程度的了解。所以今天我们希望能够给大家一些非常容易入手的一些技巧，来帮助我们如何下标题。Like Nick was talking about really catchy book titles. So I was watching Malcolm Gladwell's masterclass. 那大家应该都知道这个非常著名的作家吧。So Malcolm Gladwell 他写过了 Tipping Point, 写过了 Talking to Strangers. 他有一个 podcast. I know that Nick listened to his podcast a lot.
I'm a big fan. If you've ever listened to his podcast called Revisionist History, he likes to go into sort of historical facts that we take for granted, but he actually finds are very misunderstood. And then he'll dive into the background of what actually happened in the history of it, and maybe that we don't understand something as well as we think we do. It's quite interesting.
所以我觉得 Malcolm Gladwell 他很喜欢的一个 idea 就是呢 he said this, the best kind of argument is an imperfect one. 所以他对这种 imperfect 这种不完美，甚至到我们刚刚讲过这种 contrast 的这样子的 title 标题或者是整个 argument，他对这个都非常有兴趣，那我觉得他很多作品都是以这个 idea 来延伸出来。So he talked about having a very interesting title of the book is using this contrast, right? This contradictory ideas. 所以他有一个 example 就是有一本书叫做 Silent Spring. 那 silence 我们都知道是寂静嘛，很安静，但是 spring 我们都会觉得春天就是那种鸟的叫声啊，各种的声音都会出来了，所以这2个字就是它的 it's contradictory to each other, right? Silence and spring. So we're going to talk about using the first technique, which is using contrast.
The idea of contrast is very similar to this contradiction that Malcolm Gladwell likes to play with. And it's the thought process of having two things that are sort of opposed or opposites, but then playing with them to get it into your mind. When we're building copywriting for a lot of things, contrasts often come up as a way to kind of separate yourself from what other people think. If you've listened to previous episodes, we talked about parallelism, like they do this, we do that. Contrast is that very similar idea. So when you're trying to get attention, you want to show a quick distinction. So one really great example that my partner Andrew had compiled a list of things that we have written and also marketing or other techniques of people that we really like. And one of the things that he compiled was this: religion is about giving answers. Spirituality is about asking questions. Now, a lot of people will look at religion and spirituality as being something that is interconnected. But there's a lot of people who want to say, oh, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Or they want to talk about they're not part of a specific religion, but maybe they have a belief system. And so showing that contrast by using this kind of quote.
So, and then I know there is another example that you guys compiled is more is more and less is a bore. Usually 我们有没有听过 more is less, less is more, right? 这个是我们常听人家会用的一些 quotes 嘛。但是你会发现现在越来越多人会把它这个 more 跟 less 把它交换，或者变成 more is more, but less is bore. Right. 所以我觉得这个是一个蛮有意思的东西，但你会发现，我还记得在之前大概去年吧 Chanel ran a campaign on their jewelry, the custom jewelry line. And I believe it was Keira Knightley. I think she's a spokesperson of Chanel. And then she said, you know, Coco Chanel said that every time you leave a house, you take off a piece of jewelry. But she goes, but I put on more. So that's when she showcased the jewelry. I think a lot of companies or brands are using this more and less, this contrast, to kind of play around with that idea.
Yeah, especially when you have the organizers movement, the Marie Kondo, the joy, and then we have that phrase in English, less is more.
Yes.
Right? The less things you have, the more fulfilling your life is. So people like to play with this contrast quite a bit.
Yeah. We were talking about book titles, right? And I think there are a few more, actually, many book titles that has that contrasting idea.
Yeah, book titles often like to play with this. Margaret Atwood of the Handmaid's Tale fame, alias Grace. If you've ever read these books, she's quite famous, but she has another book called Stone Mattress. And so similar to that Silent Spring, you have these two words that are very contradictory. Stone, like hard, unmoving, uncomfortable, and mattress, the thing you're supposed to sleep on, right? So you have this strong contrast here.
And there's another book that we both love. It's called When Breath Becomes Air.
Right. And when breath becomes air, again, these are two ideas that are supposed to be very similar, breath and air. But the way that it gets used is that there's a transformation here. And that's by the, unfortunately, passed away while writing the book, the neurosurgeon Paul Kalathani. Definitely check out that book if you have time. Another good book title that I think almost everyone knows is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that's just a very basic word contrast right there.
Exactly. Now, there are a lot of quotes. Again, I talked about Coco Chanel. There are a lot of quotes that actually use that contrast as well. So she says, fashion fades, only style remains the same. So you got fades and remain the same, these contrasting ideas.
Another quote from Audrey Hepburn actually uses just one word, but in two different contexts. So that contrast doesn't have to be two different words. It can be one word with two different ideas. So the quote that Audrey Hepburn had was, I don't want to be alone. I want to be left alone.
Yeah, completely different, but using the same word alone.
And in English, we have another quote that you often see connected to things like depression, where it says, sometimes lonely, never alone. And so playing with one word and then just changing the concept can be a really great way to do a contrast.
Talking about contrast, we can go on and on and on for hours. But today, we wanted to introduce another technique. 所以今天还有第二个的技巧，下标题的技巧，也就是呢 play with similar sounding words.
So when you're playing with similar sounding words is you can often take similar sounds or a similar starting letter to a word and then kind of do what we do with contrasts, where you actually contrast two different things, or you connect two different things that sound somewhat similar. So one example of this would be using the words tuition and intuition. So one being what you pay to go to a school, and another is sort of your way of thinking, your mindset, right? So I think Andrew wrote this, or maybe he found it. A decent school spends more time honing our intuition than growing our tuition.
So speaking of school, there is another one. Another example that Andrew compiled is play with the words memorize and mesmerize. Okay, so memorize 就是记忆嘛，去记得什么东西。但是 mesmerize, it's like, how would you define mesmerize?
Like capture someone's attention, right?
So it's completely different, right? 一种是很被动的，一种是非常主动的, right? So you can say a decent school demands not that students memorize, but the teachers mesmerize, right? It's like teacher need to charm and then allows the student to be very interested and motivated at school, not letting the kids just to memorize the knowledge.
Playing with similar sounding words is probably the most common technique that I use. And I'm pretty sure it's the similar for Andrew as well. It's the most common technique because it's usually the most fun and the easiest to go to. So you'll find across most of our clients when we do copywriting, this shows up a lot. So a few examples of things from our work is Andrew actually wrote this line for a liquid biopsy company. So they're actually trying to find tumor cells in your blood. So they don't actually need to operate and open and do a surgery to get a tumor sample. So the line that Andrew came up with is precision without incision. They can precisely diagnose your problem without having any kind of invasive surgery.
Okay, I see. And I think you guys, you do a lot of copywriting for companies. And I know that you do this. You use the kind of play on words, similar sounding words a lot as well, right?
Right. So, for example, in recent projects that I've worked on, I played with things like very scientific companies who are now building medical devices. So the idea is from the science to actual application. So then I would use lines like from research to results. Or another thing is a lot of people talk about the future of precision medicine or the future of medicine. So I'll often play with the idea is we want to move ideas from the notion to the norm, from an idea to the standard.
所以我们今天提供了给大家2种不同的技巧，那我觉得大家可以来试试看玩一玩 play around with it. The next time, why don't you just start with posting on Instagram and then think of something catchy, something fun, play with your words or play with the contrasting of words or ideas. And so go from there.
Definitely the best part of copywriting is you get to play with a lot of words. And to be honest, even as a native speaker, my best friend in this case is usually the thesaurus. That doesn't mean that you can just use any word that is similar, but a lot of times when you have an idea of a headline and maybe you feel it's just kind of boring, then you can usually pop open the thesaurus and go, okay, which one of these words has something very similar that allows me to create this word play? Whether it's the contrast or whether it's using similar sounding words, you can often play with these techniques just by looking through a thesaurus or a dictionary. You do need to be a bit careful, but allow your imagination to run a little bit wild. We hope that you enjoy this and you'll put these techniques to use. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
The Executive Plus podcast is a Presentality Group production, produced and hosted by Sherry Fang and Nick Howard. You can search us on Facebook, 主管英文 Executive Plus. You can also find us on Instagram, Communication R&D, and email us at sherry@epstyleplus.com.